Good opening for them.
No, well, I know you normally be the man that pull the bread out together now. Good night, welcome to another episode of
Unsolicited.
Alright, it's been a while. I feel like we did it. I think we did it. We spoke about it the last time. It's been difficult to shoot these episodes. It's been a challenge. Because, when we are in reality, we have, personal stuff going on. But very good, though. The fans deserve it. Alright, tonight episode, we're going to talk about single mothers and single fathers in the home. Which one is more, I would say, more difficult?
More difficult, even though more difficult.
In terms of, I would like to believe is about raising the child.
Okay, which household is more difficult?
Yeah, which household is more difficult? A single father.
Single father or single mother. I only had experience with a single mother household.
Yeah.
But you can look at it logically, or we can look at it based on experience, innit?
Yeah.
Logically, when a mother is absent in a home, what are the things that the mother bring to her family or to a communal situation? What does the mother bring?
In my opinion, it was just, to me, there's certain conversations I think you could that she can address. She knows how to be a little more vulnerable, and she knows how to get that child or children to open up and tap into their feelings, as well as she might teach you prime example of how to treat a woman or stuff like that. Because in my opinion, most men are more or less on the go majority of the time. I will not say women are not, but depending on the situation and the family setup, the father is more or less on the go, and he just come, he rest, I think what I know, she will take a little more time to get to know her kids and experience different things.
So what was in the case of like boy children?
Well, when people say the mother child is always be the boy and the girl is always be the father. Yeah, they say that very close. That's what they say. And I say how true it is.
For me, I feel like raising in a family settings, I was looking at it logically. I would say a more dangerous household to grow up in would be a single mother household. Like for the child, I think it gives a very skewed perspective, if not an unfair perspective of what life has to offer. Growing up in a household with your mom alone, because I believe like the father figure is very important, pivotally important, especially the way in which young adults are going to socialize.
Yeah.
Yes, at home the mother would be the more vulnerable one, probably easier to talk to in some instances. But if you're looking at it from a wider perspective and looking at that child going out into the world after, like for instance, secondary school, going out into college, going out into the working world, a child crafted by a single mother could be a little more kind of dangerous for them into how they're going to transition into the different parts. I feel like a single father household, something like discipline would be more instilled in most cases based on what we know fatherhood to be. The more disciplinarian, the more no nonsense, making sure things don't really slide that much. So I feel like they would be more equipped. I'm not saying that they would be best equipped. I feel like they would be more equipped to deal with the challenges in life growing up in a single father household. It get very easy for the father to have another woman step in. For instance, like a stepmother or a stepmother type figure, the father, girlfriend, or whatever, to kind of give that nature inside of things. Whereas it's been more difficult for a child to accept to have a stepfather. A stepfather would always have that kind of iffy connotation towards it. Whereas a stepmother here, we would more kind of, because what it is she bringing to the household environment, as I discussed earlier, is a more nurturing side. It's not really a really hard-on skill. Whereas the disciplinarian being the father, young adults tend to gravitate towards being a little more receptive to stepmother than a stepfather, both male and female,
Well,
in my opinion.
I agree with you to some extent, and I think I was thinking about this the other day, and I think as we're moving forward in time to come, I kind of believe that we need to find a new approach in terms of. Let's click that. Let's click it. Who's on that?
One.
Nah, let's click it.
Mhm.
Yeah, got all this. I would say we need to find a new approach in terms of how we raise not only kids but how we develop men and women and human beings. Because I feel like, in my opinion, um, we need to place persons in a disciplined into a how to put it, into a disciplined settings. So society, like for example, society, somebody does something wrong, they need to be placed in prison because a discipline has to be instilled of being, away from the general public. You're being told when to eat and being, then as well as a young child, you get your child in discipline during school. You place them in. I'm not saying these things are not beneficial, but you place them in the cadet force because you think that needs another organization now to instill a level of discipline and a level of that. So is it that that's going to be our solution moving forward as just on a side note, as a general public, that every time something is going wrong, the only way we can address it is to put every single individual into an infrastructure, and if they don't fit into that, but then we don't have another solution as to how to address those issues.
Yeah, that's how you see.
Right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's how I was just looking at it, and I could be wrong, right? And I just feel like if it has become the norm, so is it that we don't have another solution of getting the best out of these of everybody? Because not everybody's gonna fit well into that
military type environment, disciplinary and
hard
and fast kind of
way.
I feel it. Well, it shows over the past, since the beginning of time, in Trinidad time, we would have had cadet force or other like-minded youth organizations, and I think they would have been using it as a means to kind of guide young minds into. But it's kind of twofold for me. One, is that system really working? Is that that institution working to what they aim it to be working for? And two, if it's working, is it that these organizations are utilized well enough, or are they do we channel young people towards those organizations as rigorous as we should? So it's twofold in my mind. One, if it's working. Two, if it's working, then why are we not using it as our main mechanism? Because I'm glad we come to that, because look at single parent household. These are the kind of children within those household types where you get more fine. I don't have the statistics with me, but we would more hear about being involved in some kind of nefarious activity, having trouble in school, and psychologists would say, well, it's because of the trauma they're facing at home with one of the parents leaving the household and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So if it is we want to use the cadet force or youth discipline type organizations to right size an issue that stem from in the household, we have to answer those two questions first. Is it working the way it should? If it's working at all, and number two, is it channeled, or are we channeling our young minds into those directions? Are we utilizing it enough?
I wouldn't say. Well, let me answer the first part of that question in terms of if it's beneficial, or if it is that what you're trying to say. If it's, the first part is that if it's trying to be beneficial, I think it's it kind of depends, because to me, the general society believe as a man or a woman that if you're not rough, or you don't speak a certain way, or you're not aggressive enough, or you're not assertive enough, then something is wrong with him or her, and then we kind of more or less push that person to the side and say he or she's weird and we don't know how to, right? But then history kind of come and play a joke on us because those persons, well, most persons who get pushed away, they develop a kind of mindset that they can tap into different skills and abilities that a lot of persons.
They're coming out the ones on top. Who we consider the nerds.
The nerds.
And the misfits.
Yes.
The ones who want to build the big tech companies, the big organizations, it's it.
Right? Where you think in terms of if those organizations are being efficient and if they're getting where it's supposed to be out of individuals, both yes and no. Yes, in the fact that they get persons to be a part of something bigger than themselves and they get to meet new people and they get to meet experiences. However, that is only done for a short period of time. So that is not going to be a lifestyle change. You can't fix someone and their personality
in a short-term program.
Mm-hmm. Right? It seems like what you're doing there is you're kind of developing a temporary fix or temporary remedy. But not looking at the whole general solution to come up with.
Mm-hmm.
Now we could look at so many different things. We could look at the household, we could look at the infrastructure in terms of the society we live in. You could look at the person's personality.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it kind of more or less coming down to it's gonna be tricky, but you're gonna have persons who oversee the different persons who join those things. You gotta find their niche in what they're good at and leave them to be good at it. So don't try to force everybody to be the same way. You understand? So you don't wanna if he or she is great in tech, you don't just push them to the side and say, hey, that tech man, yes. So he has a role and a function that is beneficial to everybody. Right? Everybody had a role, everybody had a function. And I feel like times we try to make it seem like one is always needed more, it needs to be emphasized more, and we lose sight of everybody, coming together to get the whole job done or to meet the goal or requirement or whatever it may be. That is my opinion on it.
But this whole single parent, single mother, single father conundrum we find ourselves in. What ways we think that really affects you? Like in what way you feel it really, and how far you think? Because I know a lot of us like to use situations sometimes as an excuse for the way we behave, or the way we turn out, or the way somebody behaves, or the way somebody turned out. But how deep is really the issue, if there are any issues in the situations where we end up in a single parent household, where the father left the household or the mother left the household, or however it might play out, but it's not single. How deep you think that cut is as related to youth?
It's very deep, because here's what happens, man. We get to realize this over time is that a lot of, I'm not speaking directly towards anyone, but in my opinion, I really believe like the parents kind of bring their really toxic relationship issues and bring it to the forefront in front of that said child. So it kind of breeds a negative environment, because even if you're being raised by a single mother, but the father does what he can do best based on his circumstances, meaning that he's there. If you're playing your football, he's there to support you during while the games are going on. He's there for the graduation. You fall ill at school, he will leave work and he will still come and carry you to the hospital and still be a father, but he's not directly living in the household. But I honestly believe that parents gotta find a way to collaborate if it's not working. But it cuts deep for many reasons. It cuts deep because it was never made for one person to take on the job. It was really made for two persons. Both
male and female.
Both male and female, boy, husband and wife, common law, however you wanna face it.
Right? Because I think to a lot of the learning from a young age, when it comes to a child raising a child in a house, whether it be single parent or double parent. Because in a lot of instances, I'm sure there would be single parent households that are way less toxic than both parent households.
Yeah.
And because the child would learn from how the parents interact with each other. But that is their first kind of stint into how we supposed to, how sociable we should be as a species in the household, is where you will learn how, what is the term you refer to people as, who is boy, who is girl, who is sir, who is mister, who is miss. Is home is where you learn that. And that interaction between an adult man and an adult woman, the only example a child is getting that is in the household. And I think a lot of times as parents, we just lose sight of that. And as you rightly said, bringing our own toxic relationship issues to the forefront into while we still trying to parent that child. I think it's okay for parents to not be fans of each other,
Yeah.
But I think it's how would they bring out that, or how would they exercise that relationship when it comes to the upbringing of the child.
Yeah, because sometimes what has happened to sometimes the two persons they're not in a relationship anymore, and because you've been in a relationship with the person for however long, sometimes when they start to talk about things to be done for their child or children or whatever, you kind of it starts to go back to the quarreling and it goes back to the arguing, just like when you was in a relationship.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yes, you just studying with me like she or me like he, so you kind of negotiated in bad faith.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yes, and that is where some of the challenges is be, but it is difficult. But you might disagree with me if I say this, but you know, or I would say, is that in a child's mind, a young child coming up, you know that if you don't point out that a parent is missing, it kind of becomes normal in an extent, to be honest with you.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's only when somebody points out, hey, or you go somewhere and you see a two family household and how they operate, and then you start to realize, oh shit, wait,
my family structure kind of
different. I got no father. My father not around, mother here, because some parents know how to make everything seem normal, like you're living, you're coming and going, you're going to school, when you come from school, it's home, you're lying with your friends, and you're eating breakfast, then you're laughing. It's only when you sit down, you start to ask yourself the question, like, or you see something else and you say, or somebody point out, hey, you know, you don't have a father thing, where your father thing, or where your mother. That is when that starts to play on your mind, or you start to ask yourself so many questions, right? But have a lot of questions. It was made seem normal over the years. It really isn't, but it's made seem normal. And it's only when somebody pointed out, or you pointed out to yourself that, hey, let me really do our father like that two parents also together. That's when you start to come to the realization that what you've been living or what you've been doing hasn't been normal, right? What I would say is that I don't like when persons use it to hurt other persons. So as you get older, I don't think that you should. It's not going to be easy, but you shouldn't use that situation now to use it as an excuse for you being an underperformer, or you meet someone in a relationship and you try to blame it on, hey, my father wasn't here. What you have to remember is that that person is still a human being, and you still have to be genuine. You still have to be kind, because that's naturally in you to be that person. You will lack other things. If the person really cares about you, they will understand that you lack those things and will try to work around it, and as time go along, you start to develop certain things, right? So I don't think you should use it as you get older as a form of
as a weapon kind of way for your own misbehavior
or shortcomings, to be honest with you. Now some traits will be in you that you can't help it.
It's just a nasty ways.
Yeah. That, as well as like my mother, I grew up with my mother alone. So you're in a relationship with somebody, but now you start to you feel like you have to do everything for yourself and do everything on your own. And then she trying to tell you, well, nah, you could, or he trying to tell you, nah, you could think I go see about that, relax yourself. But it's so engraved in you to do everything on your own, and probably the different lessons that you were taught don't depend on nobody. You do your thing, and you know, so that all is well and fine. But it is feel strange when somebody say, nah, you can relax, I go handle this for you. It feels different and it's going to feel awkward. So don't use it as a mechanism of hurting people.
I think, honestly, if we're being mature enough, adult men and women, when they have a child together and they decide that, okay, they know, for whatever reason, they decide that the relationship no longer working and the relationship no longer exists.
Yeah.
If there's a child involved, I think that there's a very large possibility that that child could have the value of having both parents in their lives, without the both parents being in each other's lives, to that great extent.
Yeah.
But again, as I say, you know, we own little pettiness and we own trying to kind of mock the situation when it comes to the other party.
No, only that
It's what does make things kind of, because I don't see why, because you and your child father not in a relationship, he can see the child every day, or he can call him and say, hey, it have a parents day in school, it have this, it have that. And because if you're being real, in the average household, when a child spend how much hours at school,
then
they come back home. They still get ready to go to sleep, basically. The parent, if they live in a two-parent household, it's also hardly likely that they're going to see the entire family interact at the same time during the day. On a weekend might be a little bit different.
Yeah.
But even on a weekend, if your mother and father live in two different locations, they could make time to spend that time with the child.
Yeah.
So the child will even understand that a parent missing, because it's not that a parent missing. The parents no longer in a relationship, but they both could be in a child life. What we just do is the whole spite game. Because we're in a relationship, I go keep myself away, or I go keep the child away, or I go withhold this, or I go withhold that. But it don't have to be like that.
It's not really this spite game too. We have a problem as people having serious, genuine conversations with each other. We like when everything is going all well and nice, and we're doing things, and things seems to be running smooth. So it seems like we're going on dates, we're going here, we're going there. But when it comes to the now communicating part of, like, hey, I'm pregnant.
Difficult conversations, yeah.
How are we going to address this? Are we going to get a house?
Or the living situation,
Are you genuinely considering me to be in a relationship with you? Right? And the only way we seem to feel like we could solve our conversation or have a serious conversation is through an argument or through when somebody storm off and no solution come out of it. Yeah. So we had an argument and we basically get nothing out of it. So plenty people is avoid serious conversation. I don't know for what reason.
Serious and important conversation.
Serious and important conversation is like, for example, like even people with their own personal life is like, yeah, I'll just have a mirror and be like, oh, yeah, they get shit together because they want to do so this thing that child come in here and to put that in again thing. So it's different. People not avoiding them serious conversations because we want to just straight on the back and
let's go with the flow.
Yeah, we go with the flow. We go deal with it.
You meet somebody, or link in alignment, things going nice, or let's start to have sex, but make a child, but while they're moving together, it's never really thought out.
Yeah.
It's never strong say, hey, this is where we just change the relationship. Now we have a child coming. Here what going to happen? The living situation should be XYZ.
Yeah.
Here we go and do this. You can work at this period, I can work at that period, whatever. We're not doing and sitting down and doing that enough.
Yeah.
We just taking relationship as a going with the flow kinda, so you find yourself in situation by surprise.
Yeah.
Rather than have planning and say, and it's no big science or big maths.
No, it isn't. It really
but again,
isn't.
you have an issue communicating. We feel communicating too soft. And both males and females.
Yes.
Both males and females have issues communicating real issues or difficult questions. You find your partner moving a bit left. Nothing is wrong with having a conversation to do, darling honey. I find since so and so time, I find it operating a kind of so on.
Yeah.
We always find the time to say, I find you getting on since you getting on kind of We could just sit down and have a conversation about what the issue might be.
But
and we might end up finding out that the issue isn't really an issue.
Yeah. But then they could also stem back again to the household, because that's probably what you've been seeing.
But we smart enough. I feel like as young
Yeah,
adults,
yeah.
we smart enough now in this era, in this current generation, to know a lot of what we would have experienced or see or witness is bullshit.
Yeah.
You're supposed to know right from wrong now. I think it's too long, and this generation we're too woke
Yeah.
to be perpetuating the same bullshit we would have seen our parents, grandparents, great grandparents go through and hear about what they go through when it comes to relationship and keeping a family together.
Yeah.
We understand that what they taught us as a traditional family isn't always practical, or isn't always practicable based on how life set up. We have a different culture now. We have a more dating culture, a more sexually explicit culture. We're very reproductive when it comes to just being in a relationship. Whereas long time ago is you meet somebody, you decide to marry, and then you have children. Now you meet somebody, your vibes nice, thing on a jam, boom, child. Okay, we can't cry about that. That situation happening now here going on. There could be a way that we could still raise a family or raise children in an environment that's not so toxic. Whether we remain together, we choose to be a traditional family, or we choose to part ways, we could still both add our specific value to that child. Being present in a child life isn't always about just physically present.
Yeah, of course not.
It also doesn't mean only financially present.
Yes.
It's a mixture of all. A child could understand mommy and daddy don't live in the same house or live in the same bedroom, but they're not supposed to notice that mommy and daddy in war. Yes, we don't see them hugging up each other and going in the bedroom together, but a child don't even have to understand that they're supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Hey, one time I call on daddy are wrong. Daddy just come every day and check me every so often. Daddy just stop thing. Like with me thing and he lot mommy. I see they talk about my thing, this, that thing, blah, 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 blah. Simple.
Yeah, simple.
It's simple, but we always trying to carry around that baggage, that suitcase, that luggage of the reason why you and that person not together, or the mere fact that you and that person not together. I feel like that had to be an enemy.
No, but plenty people scared of vulnerability. I don't know for what reason they are. Because it seems like they feel like when they are vulnerable, both men and women. I think they say men, but I'm gonna go both parties, both men and women. They have a problem being vulnerable in the fact that they express all these feelings, all these past mistakes, all these past experiences. Okay, no problem. You're not there anymore. You're not experiencing that anymore. I understand that you've been through something. We've all been through something. But you're here now. Let's look to move forward. Recover. But come on. But they can't. You see, plenty people don't know how to let go of many things. And it's not easy to do that. Right? So, a lot of topics still taboo, like doing like therapy and even talking to your partner, because there are plenty people in relationships right now.
Don't talk.
Don't talk.
Don't communicate.
But when you go out, she looking from head to foot, she looking real good. So everything is laughter, everything good. But then again, no serious conversation being had. You understand? And everybody, I kind of feel like the majority of persons kind of like, I want to do what I can do for me. So in case this thing fall apart here,
I have my piece of
I might think I sort out myself. I don't really want to end up on the wrong side of things.
A lot of relationships, that is the direction I'm going on, and that is the kind of behavior that's going to perpetuate further and future single parent household.
Yeah.
We're not saying that single parent household is a bad thing, but a single parent household do have to be single parented.
Yeah.
Is that difference? I mean, I didn't really had to draw a clear line and erase that blur from between the both. Not because the mother and the father no longer together means they should only have the benefit of one parent, the parent they're living with. Because in any case, so like we say in a genuine situation, if it is the man own the home, naturally the children would stay with if the woman own the home or the living situation, the children would live there.
Yeah.
So there shouldn't really be no contention between, because two are we not together, you want to see about your child.
Yeah.
Or because two are we together, and not letting you see your child.
Yeah.
I think that real kind of child.
Yeah, it is.
Are we going to allow okay, let me say a drastic situation. The man was unfaithful to the woman and the woman decides she no longer wants to stay in that relationship. I respect that is a very hurtful situation.
Yes, it is.
My heart goes out there. But is the hurt that you would have derived from that situation enough hurt to continuously suffer the children you have for that man in your life?
That is where the control of emotions come on.
You have to control the breaker that you get shouldn't have to negatively affect the relationship that the man have with his children. When it comes to parenting, you can have to remind them at every juncture the reason why they're no longer together. It's at some point you have to let go.
No, but what I feel it is like in their mind there's a small sense of a feeling that if it could have really worked, he or she would have really wanted to work. Meaning that she hurt, you know, but her mind is playing games on her, or his mind is playing games on him. That human being, so you're gonna. If I go back and I try, I wonder if we did do this different. There's so many questions being asked, but it's hard again. So nobody will be vulnerable. Yes, you are hurt. So he or she doesn't know to express that hurt to anybody. So it kind of comes out in a kind of more of a spill. So it's like it's like you tap somebody 10 times and they get angry at all, and then only 10 times they just blow up and So that would just really come like, you know what I'm saying? So but it's a situation that need to be addressed if we really wanna fix the infrastructure.
Put other relationship back on the side and parent the child.
Yes.
Not because you, the mother and the father, don't talk. Means when the mother disciplining the child, the father just wants to disagree because he wants to disagree with the mother.
Yeah, definitely.
Look at the situation at hand. Is it and even the court system, because I have brethren who went to court with maintenance and that kind of thing. And a lot of the times they indicate that the magistrate would alert to the fact that this hearing is about seeking the best interest of the child. And I feel like the parent do really take that statement into the importance that it deserves. Whatever situation or any decision you make when it comes to the mother of the child and the father of the child should always be in the best interest of the child. You have to let go how we feel about certain situation. You have to continue to be fair to each other. You have to be fair to the other person and say, hey, he might be my most favorite person or she might be my most favorite person. But I think it's only fair that I take up this responsibility in the child life. Or I think it's best if you take up that responsibility in the child life. A lot of instances we just see where the only thing the mother wants is what she do want the father to have. But what the father wants is what he do want the mother to have. So I know you love your child bad, I'm making sure you didn't see him, or you're making sure you didn't see her. The father say, I know you're broken, so I'm going to withhold financial support. You only targeting the child, bro. It's only the child going to be affected there. But we could say, okay, we could put that in our box. Our situation, our relationship is you put that away in our box. But you have no reason quarreling about it over and over because you already decided not going to be in a relationship.
Yeah, but I sometimes feel like the court can be avoided.
It should be avoided. Why should a third party have to tell me to mind my child? How to tell she how to mind your child? Come on.
If you could have a simple conversation, how much is money, how much resources they feel they might need to build financially. Okay, no problem, I'll set up a standard. I'll go in the bank, set up a standard in order, every month as my salary reach. No.
And you have to be fair.
The persons who be in cash intensive now, alright, on so date again, money are deposited in your account. You don't even want to go and call and message and go through all those things.
Again, the whole thing of it is that two grown individuals want to get at each other's throat. It's not about the child.
It's not about the child, definitely.
It's not that whole maintenance system and family court. A lot of instances I could see from stories I heard. It's really not about the parent looking to seek for the best interests of the child. You have to be fair. You have to be fair to the other party and we have to be fair to ourselves. and put away the unnecessary bitterness, the unnecessary silent treatment, the withholding of information, the dispelling of incorrect information to the other party.
I'm not telling your son at graduation, but I tell your father.
Yeah.
Son.
Your daughter need that socks, I ain't telling, so he don't know you need that socks.
Yeah. Small money that talks for football, but we can't get them no money to buy no talks, no? As long as you're the story, that's small money that talks. She don't want this much, she want to buy a weave and Gucci man and them. Bro, that is not your business. Yeah, as long as the child has the basics and you need what you need.
And it really shouldn't even resort to basics.
Yeah.
The child shouldn't have to suffer when it comes to their standard of living or their lifestyle because the mother and father is no longer together.
Yeah.
If the child was wearing Jordans all the time and all of a sudden, why the child can't continue wearing Jordans?
Yeah. Let father buy Jordan.
Could have been afforded.
Let father buy Jordan.
But all of us together, a month you buy a Jordan, next 3 months somebody's buying bad boots and so it was going. Why can't I go so now still? Everybody want to pinpoint, yeah, well let he do that, or yeah, well let she do that. Now she has to deal up. I think we could make ourselves more mature than that and actually try to avoid the circumvention of this single parent being equal to a lone parent, that kind of thing. Yeah. If you could be a single parent, nothing wrong with being parents could be single of each other.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't affect the child being parented by one single person.
Definitely not.
Anyway, what I all we have for today, Solicited. You didn't ask me, but we just tell you anyway. Don't forget to follow the page, like, comment, subscribe. Our handles are on the bottom of the screen, somewhere in the bottom here.
Somewhere.
And add us on Instagram. Tell us what you want to hear. Tell us what you want to speak about, or even send us your information if you want to come here and have something to say. We have room for that too. So, go on.
Alright, see you again.